The last decades of cinema have been characterized by one trend above all else: comic book movies. Movies inspired by comic books have existed since the dawn of cinema, but recently the phenomenon became huge, in particular when talking about superheroes. Every year are now published at least 3 or 4 superhero movies, and this is mainly due to Marvel movies' success. The Marvel Cinematic Universe managed to transpose the huge world made of many different characters that sometimes meet with each other on film rather than on paper, creating millions of new fans for their characters and grossing huge amounts of money. So it was not surprising that many other companies tried to do the same. Warner tried with its DC Comics movies, and Universal wanted to create a collective universe of his monsters. Both failed. But recently, another huge company, Netflix, bought the rights for almost all the series of another comic book company, Millar World. This is the company founded by author Mark Millar, who managed to create a shared comic universe on his own and whose works have already been of inspiration for many movies, such as Wanted, Kick-Ass, and the most successful until now, Kingsman. We already had 2 movies in the series, and recently we watched the prequel, The Kingsman. But what are the reasons for this series' success? And does the new movie add something to the franchise? Before answering these questions, we would ask you to click the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to stay up to date with our releases, click the notification bell. Kingsman: The Secret Service is a comic book series created by Mark Millar and Dave Gibbons in 2012. The series and its characters are clearly inspired by James Bond's movies, not only because the spies are British, but also because of their and the villains' characterization and behavior. But Millar gave the series a twist with his style. The main character, Eggsy, is a kid from the suburbs, so his manners are completely different from James Bond's ones, and the comic is full of the usual violence and exaggeration of all other Millar works. Only 3 years after the publication of the comic series, director Matthew Vaughn realized the movie adaptation of it, named the same as the comic, Kingsman: The Secret Service. The English director already adapted one of Millar's works, Kick-Ass, and greatly managed to put on screen all the features of Millar and his collaborators' style. Working on this project, Vaughn had the chance to direct a James Bond movie on his terms, trying to bring back the atmospheres and the features of the 007 movies from the 60s, adding gore and breathtaking action scenes. The director chose to change many of the comic plot points to better suit his taste. In fact, while the story is mostly the same, the backgrounds of many characters and their relationships are very different. Also, while the comic Kingsman is an espionage organization at the service of the British royals, in the movie they are an independent company, making it more interesting. In the movie, almost everything works. All the actors are great, in particular Colin Firth, who in addition to being perfect to be an elegant and charming spy, realized 80% of his stunts, and Samuel L. Jackson, who did a terrific job in portraying an extravagant villain and personally contributed in making him memorable by giving him a distinctive limp. The action scenes are great, in particular the church one, and the movie is funny and entertaining. There is a lot of blood, violence, and obscene language, so it may not be apt for all spectators, but it never becomes tedious by taking itself seriously, and it is overall an excellent action movie. The success of this film paved the way for the production of other installments in the series, the first of which was the 2017 Kingsman: The Golden Circle. The movie is once again directed and written by Vaughn, and this time the plot is not inspired by a previous comic book story. And maybe this is the reason why it is less interesting than its predecessor. While the general plot deals once again with stopping a villain threatening the world, the movie tries to change things abruptly and disappointingly, and introduces another spy agency, the American Statesman, which was not really needed. Unluckily, neither the new characters nor the villain, portrayed by Julianne Moore, are as interesting as the previous ones, so the film is worse than its predecessor. However, the action is still over the top and very enjoyable, and the presence and the interpretation of Elton John as himself need mentioning and praise. While The Golden Circle has not been critically appreciated as its predecessor, its commercial success granted the continuation of the franchise with a third movie, Kingsman, which is a prequel narrating the birth of the Kingsman agency. The movie has had a troubled release, as it was planned to be published in 2019, but it managed to hit theaters only in December 2021. It received a worse reception than its predecessors, but Vaughn already expected this, as this is an origin story, and usually, may the movie be too similar or too different from their predecessors, origin stories raise complaints from the series fanbase. But the director decided to do his own movie, as he thinks that many origin stories are not true to their name because they simply narrate a tale of something that was already there, simply with a different name. So he made a movie that has World War I at its core and makes war the reason for the existence of the agency. The idea may have been good, but putting war scenes, as good as they may be, in between an action spy story causes problems in the pacing of the film. Also, the dialogues are sometimes too serious for a Kingsman movie, but the cast did its best, especially Ralph Fiennes, great as always. But even though the movie is not that good, what remains is Vaughn's passion for the franchise. He wrote a movie that blends historically accurate representations of many events that led to World War I and blended them with fictional ones to make the plot of the movie more compelling. And he has already many ideas to continue the franchise, for example with sequels to both the contemporary Kingsman movies and this prequel, and a spin-off series around the Statesman. Even though the Kingsman series is not that groundbreaking, this kind of passion and love are what usually drives to realize good and enjoyable products. We only hope that Vaughn's love is genuine and not due to the success of a franchise, because otherwise, its failure is certain. Kingsman is not a masterpiece or a cult movie, but it managed to give new life to a formula for spy stories that was long forgotten. And Vaughn demonstrated to be very good at filmmaking, and losing them both because they decided to follow the contemporary trends will be truly saddening. Thanks for watching. What do you think about the Kingsman series? Did you watch the movies or read the comics? Let us know what you think about them in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe and share it with your friends. See you in the next video. Ciao a tutti.